Welcome to the bottom line with the Baldavinos. In today's episodes, we got three main things that we're going to be talking about. Number one of the most important things that's going on around the world is tariffs around the world with Donald Trump. Is he putting on tariffs because he's just a bully? Or why is he actually doing this? Is he doing the art of the deal? So we're going to be talking about that. Number two, we're going to be talking about the difference between achievers and everybody else. What makes people or certain people successful? And so we're going to be talking about three things that you can do to be successful and to be achievers as well. Success leaves clues. So we're going to be looking at certain people that actually have been successful and why. And then the last thing that we're going to be talking about this Sunday is Super Bowl 59.
Let's go.
And it's going to be between the Chiefs and the Eagles. So we're going to be talking about which quarterback needs this win the most. All right, so those are the three things that we're going to be talking about. Take it away, Michael.
Okay, so if you guys haven't heard, obviously there's been a tariff war going on between Trump and multiple countries like Canada, USA, China, Mexico. So I'm just going to give you guys a quick rundown for the ones who have not been updated with it. This past week, Trump put 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico goods coming in and out of the U.S., shocking both governments with this new proposal. Canada went even as far as to put a tariff charge on American goods, which I'll show you guys a video of Trudeau talking about that. And this proposal would have been detrimental to the citizens of Canada, as some economists are saying that 40% of Canada's GDP is based off American trade, causing everyday prices to rise exponentially, and some even saying unemployment rates would have doubled within a year. Within 24 to 48 hours of these tariffs in place, Canada and Mexico agreed to send 10,000 border agents per country to go to the respective borders between U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Canada even did a $1.3 billion investment in their border with the U.S., adding a new fentanyl border Cesar, a new border strike force, and now they have labeled cartel as terrorists. As a result of this new agreement, the tariffs have been paused for 30 days to be able to get things in place. But with so many people asking, why did Trump put the tariffs in the first place? Was he just being a bully to make America rich, or did he have a hidden motive in putting these tariffs? What do you think, Dad?
Yes, there's a lot of things that he's doing. Now, first of all, we have the biggest and strongest economy in the world. So putting on tariffs to other countries, he's just leveraging. You know, I read the book, The Art of the Deal, and Donald Trump, all he does in all of his deals for years is leverage. So what leverage can he use to get some sort of outcome? So when it comes to China, let me break down these other two. When it comes to Mexico and Canada, what he really wants is he wants those borders protected. It's fentanyl. It's terrorists that are coming up, not just the immigration issue in the southern border, because in Canada it's not an issue with immigrants coming through Canada. But there are terrorists that have been coming through Canada. In fact, 9/11, the main terrorists came through Canada. They didn't come through the south. And you got fentanyl. But where's fentanyl coming from? Fentanyl's coming from China. So what does he want? He wants tariffs. He was leveraging it so that these guys would actually protect the border, because he shouldn't be the only one responsible for protecting the U.S. border.
We should show the clip of Trudeau.
Yeah, show that.
Tonight, Canada will be responding to the U.S. trade action with 25% tariffs against $155 billion worth of American goods. This will include immediate tariffs on $30 billion worth of goods as of Tuesday, followed by further tariffs on $125 billion worth of American products in 21 days' time, to allow Canadian companies and supply chains to seek to find alternatives.
Okay, so we saw that we had Trudeau saying, okay, we're going to put all these things on U.S. in response to Trump. But then literally 24 hours later, he tweets this.
Yeah, not even.
I think it was, like, I remember talking with you in the car in the morning, and then by 3 o'clock, he tweeted this.
Yeah.
I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada's implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, personnel, enhanced coordination with American partners. and stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl Cesar, list cartels as terrorists, 24/7 eyes on the border, and a U.S.-Canada strike force for combat organized crime. So what happened here? Why was Trudeau at first so against Trump, and then suddenly within like 12 to 24 hours he changes his tune?
Because finally Donald Trump pushed the leverage of the tariffs, and he probably already talked to him about protecting the border, but they didn't do anything. Mexico didn't do anything.
Well, because I actually remember, I think it was like it was when Trump was in office before. I remember he did this tweet about how Canada's border is so bad, and then Trudeau responded saying he's going to change stuff, but then he didn't end up changing anything, which what he usually does.
No, and when we think of the border, the fentanyl is really coming through Vancouver borders, okay? The drugs are coming that direction. So China, Vancouver, if you go to Vancouver, you got a lot of Asians that are in Vancouver. So you got a lot of movement that's coming in through that border on the west coast of Canada. And so I guarantee you the stoppage has to happen over there. And then the stoppage in Mexico has to stop for the immigrants that are coming from the south and the gangs and the rapists. Those guys have to be stopped. And so 10,000, in fact, it's not a lot. 10,000 border agents, or military guys, it's not a lot across that big border on both sides. It's not a lot.
Well, I actually have a crazy stat. So just to show, because a lot of people, I've heard this argument of like, why is he attacking Canada so strongly? They're like the nice country beside us, our little brother neighbor. But the reason why he's doing this is because now Canada is actually the choice of, like, that's the route that terrorists are picking now to sneak into the U.S. So here's a crazy stat. 350 terrorists on the watch list have been apprehended at the Canadian-U.S. border. Compared to Mexico-U.S. border, only 150. So now Canada is actually the preferred choice for terrorists and bad guys and criminals to sneak across the border.
Really?
So that's why Trump is going so aggressive towards Canada. And what would have happened if he would have kept the tariffs on and they didn't do the agreement and had the pause is the people, the citizens of Canada, would have really felt the tariffs. Because Canada is already extremely expensive, but gas would have went through the roof, groceries would have went through the roof, and then the citizens would have been turning on the government. And what I think the ultimate goal is of Trump, because Trudeau, yes, he said he's going to resign, but he's not really resigning.
He's still the prime minister.
He's still the prime minister.
He's just not going to run at the next election.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
But all the liberals are trying to do is trying to sneak in the next guy, I forget his name, where I heard it was like Trudeau would be Joe Biden right now, but the next guy is pretty much just the guy who controls Joe Biden. Joe Biden would be the puppet. This guy's the puppet master. So what they're trying to do is trying to shoe hook the next guy in so it's an easy transition with the liberals, where I think the back hidden motive with Trump is he's trying to just totally eradicate all liberal leadership.
Yeah,
Like
because Canada, well, first of all, Canada is a very liberal country.
Yeah, they lean left.
And they lean left, and so now they're just putting in power those guys.
Yes. But I think he's trying to get rid of all liberal leadership.
Yeah, I couldn't agree.
I think border is like the immediate thing, but in the end, what he's really wanting is the citizens to turn
So
on the
Canada
liberals.
is primarily just liberal, like the
They
population?
lean liberal.
They
yeah.
lean left
for a long time.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
growing up there, you would even talk like just any other, like, say you talk about Trump, or I remember
Like
George Bush.
Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba would be more conservative.
Yeah.
But the populations in Canada, like Ontario, Vancouver,
Yeah.
Quebec, those are very liberal provinces.
Yes.
I see.
So it leans liberal. But let's talk about China, because he did this to 3 countries. He did it to China, he did it to Mexico, and he did it to Canada.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, why did he only put 10% on China? And he put 25%. Like he went aggressive on Canada and he went aggressive on Mexico.
So his border.
Yes, and I think there's more to it even on Canada. I think he wants oil to start flowing, the pipeline from Canada into the U.S., better trade agreements. I think he's going to be pushing for a better trade agreement that's going to be taking place in Canada with Canada and the U.S. and Mexico very, very soon.
Yeah.
Probably in the next couple weeks, there's going to be a new trade agreement. So he's going to get what he wants. But with China, China's much tougher. China's a bigger deal, because the economic standard of the U.S. and China, they're very close economically. They're powerhouses.
Well, the global GDP.
So U.S. and China are very, very close to each other, and we can put some things on China, but they can put a lot of things on us as well. So we don't have as much leverage. But I see what Donald Trump is doing right from the very get-go. He's actually pushing other things. Think about it. Panama Canal.
Yeah.
Greenland. What is he doing that? Is he bullying Greenland?
Position.
No, it's actually protecting the mainland.
Yeah.
Because what China has been doing, China has been going through South America, and through Russia, you can actually come to the U.S. through the Greenland. So he's trying to protect different parts of the country, of the mainland. And what China has been doing, I looked this up, over 60 countries around the world, China has been giving these countries and offering them a brand new stadium. Because these countries, especially poor countries, they love soccer or they love sports so much that they're literally giving countries free stadiums. So like Costa Rica,
what's the other end of the deal? They're not just giving a free stadium.
Yeah, free stadium as long as you do a trade agreement with me. But also now we're going to be friends. Don't you remember? I gave you that $500 million stadium. So he's making new agreements with...
Well, and it makes income for that country.
Right. But also, not just a trade agreement, he also wants to gather them to be in bed with China. So Costa Rica, $500 million brand new stadium. El Salvador, he gave them a brand new stadium. And he's offering all these other countries, specifically South African countries. So now...
Who's the leader of China?
I forget the president, but... And Donald Trump's going to be meeting with him, but China wants to come in this direction, and I think we should be really concerned. Donald Trump is definitely concerned about China.
Yeah. Well, I think ultimately his main goal is positioning U.S. to be as strong as possible financially and land-wise, like you were saying. But I have a crazy stat. So, because a lot of people are attacking him for the tariff thing, because Ronald Reagan was actually against tariffs when he was in office.
Right.
But if you look at the GDP of U.S. compared to China back then, China only had like 1.9% of global GDP, which is nothing.
Very
China
little.
was weak.
Yeah.
But then U.S. back then was I think it was like 26% of global GDP, so it's still strong. Now U.S. is 29, China is like 22.
Yeah.
Since then, so China is way stronger, way stronger than what they were. And so he's not necessarily only doing the tariffs just to get money, but it's also positioning of, like, because there's so much trade with U.S. and the other countries.
He's definitely doing it for leverage.
Trump wants foreign leader to do something. Trump announces tariffs on that country. Left claims tariffs won't work. Leader caves to do what Trump wants.
Pretty quickly.
And so that's essentially what he's doing. He's just saying, okay, I have all the leverage in this situation, 25% tariffs if you don't do this. Just like the Columbia plane thing that we talked about. They weren't going to take back the illegals, and he said, okay, you're going to get tariffs on this. The guy flew his personal plane to pick them up.
Right.
That's literally what he's doing. So a lot of people have to think like, okay, these aren't permanent laws he's putting in place. It's usually a short-term thing to get something he wants.
But it'd be detrimental to their economy.
If they left it. So he has all the leverage. That's the main thing. Let's go to the next topic here. We got success. What are the three things that separate high achievers? And the topic for this was actually success doesn't wait for anyone. Will you wait? What are the three things that you would say that separate someone who's a high achiever, someone who's like middle of the road, and then someone who's a low achiever? What are those things?
Well, Elijah and I just attended a conference, a leadership conference this weekend. In fact, one of the keynote speakers at the very end, that is I'm a personal fan, a big fan, that I've pretty much read probably like 80-90% of all his books, was John Maxwell. He was there, and he actually talked about having a growth plan, and for achieving things you want to be and want to do. Success leaves clues. John Maxwell taught on this, and he gave a great acronym. I don't know if you want to jump in on the acronym.
Yeah, I mean, I would just like to talk about the whole meeting the whole time, because one of the main things for high achievers is leadership, and that's mostly what the guy talked about. So I just want to read you the notes, honestly.
Yeah,
they're really they're just a bunch of fire little snippets,
little nuggets
of wisdom that I'm like, this is great. they're just a bunch of statements. I almost want to just say all of them.
So the acronym was CLEAR.
So I'll talk about the acronym. So the acronym is, it's CLEAR. So C is communication and connecting with people. You pretty much can't do anything in business and ministry and pretty much anything unless you know how to communicate and connect with people, make them feel seen, heard, and even sell things. And all pretty much. So you talked about that. Then he goes, leadership. You need to be able to lead yourself and lead people. Then E is equip people and develop teams. So training people, developing them. The same way you lead yourself, you're leading other people and equipping them. Attitude. In difficult times and adversity and rejection, the difficult times gets rid of your competition anyway. So stay at like the same attitude, a good attitude, even if you get rejected. Because most people will fall off when they get rejected when you just stay in the same attitude, basically. So he's like, don't worry about your competition. Just worry about your attitude, and the competition will go because they don't have an attitude like you, basically. Yep. Then the last one is R, and that's relationships. So that's like family life. That's your wife, your kids, and pretty much your employees. It could be anything. But yeah. Now I almost want to. Can I just read these?
Yeah,
they're actually so fire. So it's talking about growth and leadership. Age is certain, getting better is not certain. Okay, a good leader develops. Yeah, it's like you have to be really intentional with it.
Yeah,
a good leader develops himself. You cannot give what you do not have. You can't teach what you do not know. Growth is happiness. Replace the thought and the mindset of how long it will take to get there to how far can I go. Find a growth environment or make one for yourself.
Well, the reason he said that, because I actually, that was a highlight for me.
Yeah.
How far can I go? Because there was this one point where John Maxwell, who was young at the time, heard a guy named Earl Nightingale say that if I study a subject consistently, at least an hour a day for the next 5 years, I'm going to be an expert in that field. So John...
Oh, he said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said that. And so he decided, I'm going to just commit myself to an hour a day of learning and growing in leadership, because he wanted to be an expert in leadership in 5 years. So he did that over and over again.
Yeah.
And then close to the 5-year mark, he was already an expert in that field. So Earl Nightingale was right. But he found so much joy and pleasure and fulfillment and satisfaction in growing to become a leader that he goes, I don't want to stop in the 5-year mark. Why do I have to stop? Then he started asking the question, not the 5-year mark as my end goal, but how far can I go? How far can I go in continuing to learn? And I really like that, because I think that's my commitment too in my own life. I want to have a growing commitment.
So is that the first of the three things that separate? What's the first
No.
one?
We can hit that. But why don't you finish that?
Okay, so for growth environment, so like...
Oh, yeah, that is one of my hits.
This
is one of my points.
This is one of my favorite ones, right?
Yeah,
here.
I really like this.
So he says, find a growth environment or make one for yourself. So he says, a growth environment is a place where everyone around you is better than you. He goes, then he gave the analogy of like a race. He goes, if you run with the people that are all faster than you, after you stay with that team, you will be better, basically. Okay. And then he goes, if you have like an environment that's the opposite of a growth environment, like it has limits, you're
the best one.
You're the best one, or you are. This is why I like entrepreneurial. I think more entrepreneurial is because you go work for the man, you go work in your job. I'm not against 9-to-5 jobs, but there's a cap on what you can achieve.
Yeah.
And so he goes, you will limit yourself in an environment with limits. So after you, basically, if you have an environment with limits, you'll start limiting yourself in the way you think. And I was like, dang, that's crazy.
So you're saying if you have a 70K job, but your raises can only go to 80, once you hit that 80, you're not going to grow anymore.
Basically, but also you stop dreaming. You stop thinking about.
It's just the day to day.
It's just day to day, and you're stuck at but you start when he said
it's not necessarily just about the money.
No, but it's just an easy
example.
thing to. It's an easy example.
Yeah.
Yeah, But so that was the growth environment. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite points.
One more. This isn't about the growth environment. This one's really good because I want to learn how to be a good communicator with like selling. Because all I'm thinking about is really selling and making money right now. So it's easier
He
to
just
talk
started
about.
a business.
I just started a business, so it's that's all.
That's his grind.
So this is aside from the growth, the environment you're in. Great communicators know that it's all about who's hearing it, and that
Not what you're saying.
And yeah, not about what you're saying, but how they're hearing it. And I was like, oh, that's nice. But yeah,
that's good.
That's basically.
Well, let's break down some things that high achievers have and high achievers do, and jump in at any of these points. Number one would be the vision of who you want to be, who you want to become, and this one is key because having a vision, and I would say even writing it down, some of the goals, some of the things that I want to accomplish, but also specifically who do I want to become.
Yeah.
And there's a great Bible verse in Genesis where he says, be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. Be fruitful. And if you want to be a fruitful person, to be a person that multiplies, you have to become the person that can carry those things, develop those skills. So the first question that we should answer is, who do I want to become? So at the end of my life.
You know, it'd be good, that quote that you said to me where it's like, if you can say it.
Oh, yeah.
You can say it. You say it.
So if you can say it, you can see it. And if you can see it, you can seize it. So seeing the end result of my life, not just what's at the end of my bank account, but who do I want to become? What kind of father do I want to be? What kind of husband do I want to be? What type of character do I want to have? And then that will actually carry me into having a successful business or ministry or life or marriage, children, and all those things.
Yeah.
So having those things in front of me, like who do I want to become, is probably the most important thing that I've seen other high achievers do. Number two is invest in yourself. And so what I mean by invest in yourself, Proverbs 23:23 says, to buy truth, don't sell it. It says, buy wisdom, buy instruction, and buy understanding. What does that mean? So buy wisdom.
Like invest in your growth.
Yeah, so
Like
you have
personal
to.
growth.
So buying means I am going to take this money and I'm going to exchange it for wisdom. I'm going to exchange it for understanding. I'm going to buy it. I'm literally going to invest financially into a coaching program. I'm going to invest my time and energy into books. You know, I'm going to buy the books.
Yeah.
And I'm going to invest my time. So if you really want to become that person, then you have to start investing in yourself. John Maxwell said that that's the first thing he needed to do. Invest in his own personal growth.
Wait, so say those again. Say this. So you buy what? So buy wisdom.
Proverbs 23 says, buy truth, don't sell it.
Buy truth, don't sell it.
Buy wisdom, buy instruction, and buy understanding.
Wow. Okay.
So you have to invest in order to get it. So that growth environment that John Maxwell was talking about,
Yeah.
sometimes you might have to buy yourself into a mastermind, into a coaching program to be around those people that think differently, have a better belief, and will stretch you into doing things you've never done before.
Yeah, that's interesting because the thoughts that come to my head is because the 7 spirits of God, that's 2 of them right there, is wisdom and understanding.
Yeah.
So it's almost, you're kind of investing to be more like God, which the 7 spirits of God are basically descriptions of God.
Yeah.
So it's basically telling you to buy those things. I wonder why it's just those 2 though.
Well, he's
in that verse.
wisdom, instruction, and understanding.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael, you and I attended our first mastermind, 3 years ago?
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And being around a group of people,
Yeah.
of entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
they think differently.
They're high income earners.
Yes.
They've seen it. They have the experience. It changes like everything about, like instead of being just seeing like people on YouTube and all this stuff, when you're in the room with people who are doing the same thing as you and like they're challenging you and stretching you, it's like almost like a rocket fuel. Like it's just exponential growth.
Yeah, I
Because it pushes you.
even remember feeling like, boy, I thought so small.
So small.
I was coming into the room thinking I was thinking great. By the time I was done, I was like, I was thinking so small.
You gotta like triple your goals now.
Yes. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, this is too small. And I was just, investing. And we've invested last year we invested good sums of money on being a part of communities that can teach us different skills and books and courses. I mean, we did a workshop together in the end of the year.
Yeah.
So that takes money.
Yeah.
So buy wisdom, my understanding. So number 1 is vision. Number 2 is invest in yourself. And I would add, one of the mentors that we actually follow,
Yep.
he says, if you're not making, now this is pertaining to money, but if you're not making $20,000 a month,
Don't ever watch TV again.
don't watch TV until you're making $20,000 a month, because
Yeah.
you're watching other people
do what you want to do.
be successful.
Yeah.
They're making that type of money. And so there you are watching Netflix, and they're making that type of money, and you're broke. And you're
Yeah.
vegging out. He goes, you should be watching courses. You should be reading books at night to develop your skills so that you can become that person that can have that money.
Well, and he doesn't watch the news either.
Right?
Because he's like, that's just negative stuff.
It is. It is
It's just
true.
negative stuff, and I don't want it to bring me down.
And he watches that, the
Yeah.
negativity even in his own mind. But number 3, get a mentor.
Yeah.
And that goes along with the Proverbs 23:23. So getting a mentor is the reason why that's so important is it will actually keep you accountable. It's kind of like what you're doing with Justice, taking him to the gym.
Yeah.
And you're on him.
Did you finish your macros today?
You're nonstop on him. And then you also go to the gym with him and you instruct him on how to lift that and how to do that. And I find that so critical, even for our own personal growth, both in business or in ministry, whatever a person wants to do.
Find someone that's, this isn't a roast to Justice. Find someone that's better than you. I was relating that to John Maxwell, not to working out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
But
that I'm
find
more
someone that's
jacked.
better than you that can actually keep you accountable
Yeah.
to do things that you want to do.
That has already done it. too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would say, don't just have one, have many. If there's a dad that I see out there, oh man, I like the way he's raised his children.
Wait, tell the
story.
When you talked to all those parents when we were about to be teenagers.
Well, you guys weren't even teenagers. You were probably like 11 years old.
Yeah.
I did a big scope looking around the families that I knew, and I looked at their kids because I wanted to grow in being a better father. So I told this to Christelle, and so we start looking around, like, look at those kids. I don't want to ask the parents any questions.
Yeah.
Run
hilarious.
away from those parents. And I just kept looking at it, and it was kind of hard to find, to be honest. I found a couple, and I liked the way their kids loved God, the way they talked to their parents, all those things that I was looking for. And I would pick their brain. I would ask them questions like, how's dinner time look like? How's Bible study look like? Do you spank them? What's the discipline look like? Tell me the house environment. I asked them I learned the movies that they watched. And guess what? I started doing the exact same things with the movies. That's why I maneuvered it to fit me and Christelle. That's why you guys watch Leave It to Beaver and,
Little House on the Prairie.
Little House on the Prairie. And, it was good, clean entertainment.
Yeah.
And but I learned it from that guy. And so I think getting a mentor in different areas of my life was critical. So if I want to develop my marriage, if I want to develop my home, if I want to develop my finances, and then I submit myself to a season to do the things that they're doing so that I can learn and do the same and act the same way.
Yeah.
And think the same way.
Yeah.
And so that would be number 3.
Okay.
Because so you're basically saying that there's because you could almost pick attributes as well. So you could almost get a bunch of people, talk to them how they did it, and then pick, I like that about them. I like that about them. I like that about them. Because I've thought about even certain guys I have in my own life, the way they do business, where I'm like, oh, I like the way he spends his money. I like the way that he makes his money. He makes his money well. And then you could just dissect, oh, I like the way
I like the way he sells.
I like the way he sells. I like the way that he like you maybe watch him and while he does a bid or while he whatever.
Yeah.
Or even then you could do that in even being a father or husband. Oh, I like the way that he does that because you told me that you like the way that mom's parents, Mark would grab Karen, my mom's parents, and go pray. And you said, oh, I like that, and you grabbed that, and then you liked how relational your parents were. You grabbed that, and then you just grabbed a bunch of these little things, put them together until you created you wanted to make a culture for your own family, And I really liked that.
Yeah, so definitely, like, I grabbed different things, like, we didn't have Friday night thing. And then all of a sudden I saw this couple, and they told us, like, how they grew up was this Friday night. They had this specific night of the week that the whole family would come together, and they kind of found it like a traditional thing. So I'm like, hey, we should do that. And so we started doing that. Or, Mark and Karen, my in-laws, they had a certain thing that I like the way they do that, the prayer thing. And, and then also my parents do certain things, and I like this, and I like the warmth of the dinner tables and just chilling and relax. You're not like, having dinner and just picking it up and, okay, dinner's over, leave. We're just chilling and relaxing. So I grabbed a hold of the things that were great in every environment with different things and different characteristics. So get a mentor. Number 4 would be schedule the things.
A bonus one.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple extra bonuses.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
you promised them 3, you're getting 5.
Yes. So schedule the things that you want to be. So if you're going to invest in yourself, well, put your money behind it and put your time behind it. Literally put it in your schedule. So like John Maxwell, he took an hour a day to read and grow in leadership. So where do I want to grow? I want to put an hour a day on that one. Number 5 would be feed yourself in this area. So like, I think we kind of all do this kind of naturally, but if we want to start lifting weights or losing weight or something like that, we start watching videos on it. What does that do for us?
It just
Feeds
gets you
us.
hungry.
It feeds us.
Yeah.
It fuels us. It gets you refocused. And so when it comes to the things that you want to grow in, keep feeding yourself and fuel yourself and re-envisioning yourself. And you're also at the same time kind of learning a little bit of an extra skill.
Yeah.
And so feeding yourself in that area. And then the last thing that Elijah already mentioned was being in a growth environment. And so that could be coaching programs, masterminds, all sorts of things that will help you grow. So those would be the 6 areas, not just 3.
Yeah.
That we can actually grow in. These are success secrets that people do.
And if you guys have any more questions with a specific topic about success, growing, personal growth, all that stuff, please put them down in the comment section. We love to tackle more of those questions. But let's go to the next topic. So this week we've got Super Bowl 59, Chiefs-Eagles rematch.
Holy crap.
For the second time in 3 years. With the last time they played, it was a 38-35 victory for the Chiefs. But now these are different rosters, different players. And so the first question I want to ask you guys, first angle we're going to go after, Jalen Hurts, he's hunting for his first ring, and Mahomes is trying to achieve the first ever three-peat. Who needs the Super Bowl win more, Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes?
Well, you could go to the Jalen Hurts route and say, oh, he's never won it, but he has to prove himself because everyone thinks he's carried by his roster and he's not that good of a quarterback. He's an average passer. I've heard all the videos.
Yeah.
He's never won MVP.
He's never been up for an MVP discussion.
Well, 2 years ago he was.
He was?
Yeah, he was third, yeah.
Third?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
The year we reversed him, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's doubted a lot, basically. That's the narrative is carried by his roster, and that's
If he wins,
then it's kind of hard to discuss.
Well, think about this stat. The only active quarterbacks in the NFL right now who have a Super Bowl ring, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Rodgers. It's the only quarterbacks playing right now that have a Super Bowl.
Wow. That's
And so Mahomes is the only one under 30. All the other
that's
guys
why they
are
hate
old.
it. Everyone, like everywhere we go, they hate the Chiefs. I mean, we were at the conference and they hate the Chiefs.
Dude, they've been winning long enough to become the villain right there. Yeah.
So I say, if you want to keep going.
Oh, I do. Patrick Mahomes, the thing that's around him is that he's chasing the GOAT.
He's chasing Tom.
He's chasing Tom. Brady has 7, and it's hard. Brady came back as an old man and then beat Patrick in the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. Okay?
Yeah.
I would argue he had like a terrible line and all that.
Yeah.
And they're all injured, but whatever. It's over. And he's the only guy that's really beat Patrick in the playoffs except for Joe
Burrow.
Joe beat
by
him
the
once.
Chiefs.
But this is a three-peat, and Tom has never had a three-peat. Nobody ever has ever had a three-peat. I'm going to make it more extreme because that's true. And if he has 4 before 30 years old, Tom didn't get his 4th till he was 37. Okay? So he would, in my opinion, be up for the GOAT discussion for sure because he's 8 years ahead of the guy.
Yeah.
And he has 4. He doesn't have 7 yet, but he has a 3-peat. Tom never got that he had 10 Super Bowl appearances. Tom did.
Yeah.
And like 5 and 7 years is ridiculous. So I would say who needs it more would be Jalen. Just because he's never won one, and everyone doubts him. Nobody doubts Patrick anymore. Yeah, nobody.
Everyone just hates
you
the
win.
guy.
You win 2 in a row. You're not doubted.
Yeah,
like no. You even see this. I would say the Eagles have a better roster than we beat them last time.
Yeah,
I would say we do too. Better defense and a worse offense, I would say, but more well-rounded. But I would say, wait, what was I just saying?
You're saying you think that Jalen Hurts needs it more?
Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts needs it more, but
Well, I disagree. I think Patrick Mahomes needs it more because it's very hard to get in this position of winning 2 Super Bowls back to back,
3 in a row, yeah,
and then going to the third. It's so hard to do. Like if he doesn't win, he has
suck.
Not only would it suck, but he has to start all over again with 2 more wins to get to the third.
No, they're not getting to this again.
No, and I want to add something to that.
They're not getting this
So
again.
this 3-year run they've had, the first one they had, like the first time we played the Eagles 2 years ago, all those guys on that defense, we actually had the record for most rookies starting in the playoffs. There's like 7 rookies. Yeah. All those guys now are still the same defense, and we're not paying them yet. So this time next year, a lot of those guys might not be there. Because you're going to have to let some guys walk. You're going to have to pay some, so the other guys will have to walk. So it might be a way different roster. Like, think about this stat. Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie, Pacheco. I think Brian Cook as well. Those guys have never lost a playoff game. They've been in the NFL for 3 years.
Yeah.
And they've never lost
That's a good point.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys aren't going to be there next year
because
their rookie deals are over.
Yeah, they have to get paid.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to be traded.
Well, no, they'll just be let go, and then they'll pay some. And
that's what I mean.
I don't think we'll have as good of a I think we'll have a better offense and a worse defense than that next year.
Well, it'll be more like a little bit of a rebuild, how it was after Tyreek left. You have to draft again.
So I think it's definitely going to be on Mahomes right now. He's got a lot of pressure. The other one does too.
Yeah.
Of course. He has got a lot, of course. And they have a great team. Like, I'm scared of I'm not scared of Hurts.
I'm scared of Saquon. Yes.
That's what I'm scared of.
Freak,
and the overall team is, in my opinion, a better team. So
on paper, yeah.
On paper, they're a better team.
But we got the mindset of Mahomes. We got
this is literally what we're banking on. We're banking on a winning mindset. They've done it before. They're veterans at this. They've gone here. This is the 5th. This would be the 5th time.
I'm not scared if we're behind. In fact, we play better if we're behind. The other ones, their morale will go down if they start losing, and then the game's over.
Yeah.
The game's over if we're winning 2 by 2.
We're also banking on a coach that is insane.
We have the greatest coach. We have the greatest quarterback. We have a great team.
Yeah.
So,
well, actually, every Super Bowl we've won, we've been down by 10 or more.
Yeah, that's true.
Really?
Yeah.
Think about it.
First one
was the Niners in
that
2019.
was like 14, right?
No, we were down by 10 with 4 minutes left, and we won that game.
Wow.
And then Tampa won. That was just a butt whooping.
Yeah.
The Eagles won. We were down by 10 at halftime, 24-14. Niners won. We were down by 10 in the third quarter last year. Came back and won in overtime. Like, we've been down every single time. It's just absolute stress.
Yeah. So
as a Chiefs fan, you're never sitting there like absolutely super pleased the whole game.
No, never have.
No, it's very stressed.
And as people like winning so much that like the entire country like hates the KC Chiefs, it's actually not that like chill when you're sitting there. It's no dominance. It's dominance in after you get the little W.
It's dominance in terms of how long they've been winning.
Long they've been going, and you get that little W in the little box.
So every week.
Every week's stress, bro.
I'm excited.
It's
gonna be great.
Next point: score prediction and why. Start with Elijah.
I actually think it's gonna be. I think the Eagles have a good pass defense.
Number one.
The number 1 pass defense, and we got. Wait, do they have a? How's their run defense? I'm trying to dissect this so I can get my prediction. Middle. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get 28-25 Chiefs.
Okay.
28-27 Chiefs.
Okay. 28-27.
I'm sorry, 27-26 Chiefs. 27-26 Chiefs.
Okay, 27-26.
Yep.
Okay, I think it's either going to be a bigger win on either side. So I think it's
Really?
There's going to be a big spread.
Because I think if it's close, the Chiefs will win. Like you guys were saying, it'll be a score like that. Or it's going to be like the Eagles just dominate.
You don't think we have a chance of dominating?
I don't think
No.
we're going to be
I think we have a
dominated.
chance of dominating. I think there's two options. One of the two teams dominates, or it's a really close Chiefs.
I think that's unlikely because both of these teams are really good at keeping the ball. They don't turn over. These two, it's literally the Bills, Chiefs, Eagles have like top turnover rate. Like they don't turn it over.
Yeah.
I really doubt that there's going to be like a butt whooping just for that reason alone.
I'm going to go 31-27.
Okay. I thought you said he was going to blow it out.
No, I think that's a possibility. Because I could see it being like 34-24. Because there's like a field goal at the end that makes it 10.
Yeah. Okay.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
I could see a 10-point win. I could see a 14-point win. But I think it'll end up being like a 4-point win.
Yeah, I agree.
Like 31-27.
Yeah.
Okay, to our next point. Should the tush push be legal?
No.
We were literally just arguing.
I think it's fine.
I hate it. It's
don't
so
mind it. Tell me your
boring.
argument.
It's so boring. It's like, I think they're injured.
So before you go on, what is a tush push? So people can
Okay, the
can
tush
understand
push
what
is
that
just when the guys line up and pretty much a victory formation, and then the quarterback just runs forward with his head down, and there's 2-3 guys behind him pushing him across the line. And
And they always do it on like the 4th down, 4th and inches.
Yeah, or 4th and 3 or in.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so give me your argument why it should be legal.
I think I'm going to give you two sides. Part of me is just it's annoying. I hate watching it. It's super boring. Eagles are really good at it. The Bills were good too, but we had a way of defending it because the Josh Allen liked to go left, basically, and high. So we were able to stop that. But the Eagles, it's annoying. We're going to have a hard time stopping that. So that's annoying. It sucks to watch, and there's also an argument for injuries happen when everyone's in a dog pile and you have like
It's true.
thousands of pounds all over each other. So
It's like schoolboy football.
it's
in the
rugby.
backyard.
We're not watching rugby. We're watching football. I hate this crap where it's like it's not even like you're sitting there as a coach. You're expected to think of something intelligent. It's like all you guys get really close to each other and push them over the line. And I'm just like, dude, this is I don't like the play. I think it's
Okay, this is my argument for why they should just keep
I hope if they do it, I hope Jalen Hurts gets injured doing it this game.
just for like 3 days.
Just for a couple days.
He's healthy after.
Healthy the moment after the Super Bowl's over.
Okay, this is why I think it should be legal. One, you could see from when Jason Kelsey retired to their new center now, they're not as good at it. They were pretty much unstoppable when they had Jason Kelsey because he's like one of the best centers of all time. Second, I think that it can be stopped. Like you looked at the Bills, they were 20 for 21 during the whole season on their tush push. They go into that game against the Chiefs, they're 2 for 5. They only missed it one time the whole year, and then in one game they missed it 3 times, and it cost them the game, some would say. But so I think if you're gonna stop it, you can stop it. Like I think it just comes down to there is a skill to it. You could see with the Bills, he went high, and he's a bigger quarterback. Jalen Hurts is like 6'1". He's a lot smaller than Josh.
Yeah.
And he just goes low. So
Yeah, he just
goes under
dives
on
right
knees.
in.
Yeah, he just dives.
But also, you could injure quarterbacks doing that.
Yeah, but that's the risk. Because the Chiefs, in 2019, they did a QB sneak against Denver. The dude dislocated his knee because his O-lineman landed on his knee. Ooh. And Mahomes missed like 3 games. They've never done a QB sneak ever since then.
Dang.
And
They don't do it.
They've
Chiefs-
never run it
Chiefs
ever
don't do
since
it.
2019 because they don't want that to happen. So they're also taking a risk by running that play because your quarterback could get cooked.
Yeah, sure.
Or other guys.
Or other guys. But
Yeah.
that's why I think
But the quarterback is the most valued player on the team.
Yeah,
Because
touch the ball
you're
every
sitting
time.
there like if you have a league with a bunch of injured quarterbacks, it sucks.
Yeah.
Like it's happened before where you have like star quarterbacks. They're not in the reason that a lot of people watch the NFL are like Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar, even Jalen. Like these guys are if these guys are injured, it's like you're losing so many fans. It's
Yeah.
like,
But that's what I think should stay legal because it can be stopped.
yeah.
And I think you can slow it down. But that's pretty much it. That's all we got today for you guys. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Please leave any comments, any topics you want to hear us talking about. Subscribe, like, share this with your friends. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Boom.